We've all been there. That moment when everything collapses. The dream you were chasing suddenly shatters. The goal you were working toward slips through your fingers. The people you trusted walk away. You're left standing in the wreckage of your own effort, wondering what went wrong. And in that silence, in that pain, you ask yourself, why did I fall? But falling is part of the journey. It's not the end. It never was. Falling doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human. It means you dared to try, while others stood still. It means you had the courage to move, to take a shot, to step into the unknown, and yes, sometimes you miss. Sometimes you stumble. Sometimes you crash hard. But that's what separates you from the ones who never even got in the game. Think about every legend, every name you admire: athletes, leaders, creators, warriors. None of them made it without falling. They've all hit rock bottom. They've all had days when nothing worked, when their confidence was crushed, when the world told them they weren't good enough. But here's the difference: they didn't stay down. They didn't let the fall define them. They got back up again and again until their rise became inevitable. Falling doesn't disqualify you. It qualifies you. It means you're learning what doesn't work. It means you're developing grit. It means you're collecting the scars and the wisdom that no classroom, no book, no shortcut can ever give you. The world will try to tell you that falling is failure. But that's a lie. The real failure is refusing to rise. The real failure is giving up because it got hard. The real failure is letting one fall convince you that you're not meant for greatness. But you're still breathing. You're still here. And that means you've still got a fight left in you. You've got something inside that the fall couldn't kill. That spark, that hunger, that fire, that's your proof. Proof that this isn't the end. So don't run from the fall. Don't be ashamed of it. Embrace it. Stand up in the middle of it and say, this is not where my story ends. Let the world watch as you rise from the ground, stronger than before. Let your fall be the foundation you build your comeback on. Because the fall is just the beginning. Every fall leaves behind something most people overlook: a lesson. When you're on the ground, staring at the dirt, feeling the weight of failure, you are standing in the middle of the greatest classroom life has to offer. The pain you feel in that moment, it's not punishment. It's teaching. The setback you face, it's not the end. It's a message, a signal, a direction pointing you toward growth. Think about it. When everything is going perfectly, we celebrate, but we don't learn much. Success feels good, but it rarely teaches. It's in the struggle, in the frustration, in the collapse, that life gives us its hardest and most valuable lessons. When you fall, you discover where you were weak. You see the cracks in your plan. You notice the habits you neglected. And you're given a choice: ignore the lesson and fall again the same way, or absorb it and rise sharper, smarter, tougher. Every mistake is data. Every failure is information. The dust you fall into is full of clues. Clues about your mindset, your discipline, your effort. Maybe you didn't prepare enough. Maybe you relied too much on motivation and not enough on consistency. Maybe you underestimated the size of the mountain you were climbing. Whatever the reason, the lesson is there. If you're willing to look past the pain and dig into the dust, you'll find the wisdom that transforms your journey. The problem is, most people don't. Most people let shame and fear blind them to the lessons. They fall, they feel embarrassed, and they quit. They run from the pain instead of studying it. They miss the chance to grow. And because of that, they repeat the same mistakes again and again, living the same cycle, trapped in the same pattern. But not you. Not anymore. You're not here to stay down. You're here to rise. And to rise, you must learn. You must turn every fall into feedback. You must look your failure in the eye and say, what are you here to teach me? The dust has answers. It teaches patience when things don't go your way. It teaches resilience when the world pushes you to quit. It teaches discipline when your old habits drag you backward. Resilience is not something you're born with, it's something you build. Just like muscles in the gym, resilience only grows when it's tested, when it's strained, when it's pushed to its limits. And every time you fall, every time you face resistance, every time you walk through failure, you are building that muscle. Think about training. You don't grow stronger by lifting light weights forever. You grow stronger by adding pressure, by breaking the muscle fibers so they can rebuild thicker, harder, tougher. Life works the same way. The falls, the failures, the disappointments, those are the weights life puts on your shoulders. And while they may bend you, while they may hurt, they are shaping you into someone stronger than before. Resilience is forged in the fire of setbacks. When you fall and rise again, you're teaching yourself that pain is not permanent. You're proving that discomfort can't stop you. You're rewiring your mind to see struggle not as the enemy, but as the training ground. That's why some people collapse under pressure while others thrive in it. It's not luck. It's resilience. It's the hours, the days, the years spent standing back up when the world tried to keep them down. Every fall is a repetition. Every rise is a set completed. And just like in the gym, the more reps you do, the stronger you get. One day, you look back and realize the challenges that used to break you no longer shake you. The storms that used to drown you now barely move you. You've become hardened, not cold, not numb, but powerful, unshakable. But here's the truth, resilience doesn't come without struggle. You cannot wish it into existence. You cannot read it in a book. You must live it. You must walk through the fire. You must feel the weight of life press against you and still choose to push back. That's how resilience is built. And resilience changes everything. It gives you patience when the road is long. It gives you courage when fear whispers in your ear. It gives you focus when distractions try to pull you away. And most importantly, it gives you certainty, not that life will be easy, but that no matter what comes, you will not break. So the next time you fall, don't see it as the end. Everyone falls, but not everyone rises, and this is where courage comes in, because standing back up after you've been broken, after you've been humiliated, after you've lost what you thought you could never live without, takes a kind of strength that most people never discover in themselves. It's easy to stay down, it's easy to accept defeat, it's easy to tell yourself the story that maybe this wasn't meant for you, maybe you weren't good enough, maybe you should just stop trying. That's the voice of fear, the voice of doubt, the voice of weakness that wants you to stay buried where you fell. But courage is the decision to silence that voice and rise anyway. Courage doesn't mean you don't feel afraid, it means you move forward even while fear screams in your ear. It means you put one foot in front of the other even when your body tells you it hurts too much, even when your mind whispers it's impossible. Rising takes guts, because the moment you stand, you open yourself up to another fall, another failure, another round of pain. Most people would rather stay down than risk hurting again. But the few who rise, the warriors, the leaders, the relentless, are the ones who choose courage over comfort. They know that life will knock them down again, but they also know that every rise makes them harder to break, every comeback makes them more dangerous, every act of standing builds a version of themselves that nothing can destroy. Courage is not found in the absence of obstacles, it is forged in the decision to keep moving despite them. And in that moment, when you decide to rise, you're not just proving something to the world, you're proving something to yourself. You're proving that the power within you is greater than the pain around you. You're proving that your spirit cannot be crushed by circumstances, that your will cannot be stolen by failure, that your destiny cannot be stopped by a fall. And when others see you rise, when they witness your courage, it ignites something in them too, because courage is contagious, it gives others permission to believe in themselves, to face their own battles, to rise from their own darkness. That's why your rise matters. That's why your courage matters. Because the moment you stand, you are not only reclaiming your life, you are setting fire to the doubts of everyone who ever thought they couldn't. And so, in the face of fear, in the weight of pain, when the ground feels, we fall so that we can rise, and we rise so that we can become something greater than we were yesterday, because the truth is, every fall is a test, every setback is a question life asks you, and the answer is always found in whether or not you choose to get back up. If you stay down, the story ends there, But if you rise, you write a new chapter, and that chapter is not only about survival, it's about transformation. We must keep rising because life will never stop knocking us down, storms will keep coming, pain will keep showing up, losses will keep hitting us when we least expect them, but our purpose is not to remain in the dust, it is to rise from it, again and again, each time with more strength, more wisdom, more power than before. Rising is how we discover who we really are, because strength is not measured by how easy your path is, it's measured by how many times you've been hit and still found the will to move forward. We keep rising because every rise brings us closer to the highest version of ourselves, the version that is unshakable, unbreakable, unstoppable. And it's not just about us. When you rise, you show others that they can too. Your courage becomes someone else's hope, your perseverance becomes someone else's blueprint, your fight becomes someone else's reason to keep going. That's why we must never give in to defeat, because our lives are not just about what we achieve, they are about who we inspire, who we lift, who we prove wrong simply by refusing to quit. Rising is not about perfection, it's about persistence, and the world doesn't need perfect people, it needs resilient ones, people who refuse to be defined by failure, people who stand up in the middle of the storm and say, "This is not where my story ends." And yes, rising is hard, it costs energy, it costs tears, it costs long nights and heavy sacrifices, but what's the alternative? To stay down? To let life bury you alive? To let fear win? No. That's not why you're here. You're here to rise until there is nothing left to rise against, you're here to keep fighting until your fight becomes your legacy, you're here to rise not 7 times, not 8, but as many times as it takes until your spirit stands taller than your struggles. Because when it's all said and done, when the dust clears and the noise fades, no one will remember the number of times you fell, they will remember the fact that you never stayed down, that you always got back up, that you kept rising no matter what. That is why we fall, not to stay broken, but to rise unbreakable.